Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. We record these interviews so potential buyers can learn more about the business and the seller to help them make a buying decision. Now, all of the business details, which include the type of business it is, how much revenue and profit it makes, and all of the assets included in the sale can be found on the business listing. To view this information, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business listing number, which is listed in the video thumbnail and the description. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And if after listening you want to take an even deeper dive into the business to perform your due diligence before potentially purchasing this business, you can unlock this listing to look through all of the business information, which includes the domain, the products, the P&L, and more. So can you tell us a little about your background in building and running online businesses?
I started in dropshipping because I was looking for a way to make an income and eventually escape the 9-to-5. I was working for a massive American multinational and I just wanted to be out of that and do something for myself. So I went down the rabbit hole of learning how to make money online. I read the 4-Hour Workweek, like most entrepreneurs have, stumbled upon dropshipping. I went down that rabbit hole and it was basically trying to figure out how to find a product, how to identify a niche, how to sign suppliers, all that stuff. So I got started in 2017 and I've just been growing it ever since. I've pivoted a few times along the way just to build a moat around the business itself, just to stand out, and it's worked pretty well so far.
So why are you selling the business now instead of keeping it and growing it further?
I've decided to sell the business now because I've been running it since 2017 and I've got lots of ideas. I'm one of those guys that just keeps coming up with business ideas and wants to implement them all. And every time I try to do that, then I get distracted. So I think it's time for me to just put some money in the bank and then start to explore another business model, maybe another 2 businesses. I think this business is going to grow. And if I still had the desire to grow it, I know exactly what needs to happen and I know what I could be doing. But just because I've been involved with this same business for so many years, I've grown tired of it. And that's all really, because it's never been a passion of mine. So I got into it basically because the numbers made sense. And this time I plan to choose something that excites me. And this business just doesn't excite me anymore. There are still lots of things to do. There are lots of things I have never done with the business. Lots of things that, like, I don't even run ads for this business. So there's lots of things that a new owner could come in and just activate or turn on, and then that's immediately already, more traffic and more sales. There are other things that I started doing that in the long run can bring in a lot of extra revenue or a little extra profit because it's extra income on the store, but I've just never followed through just because I get distracted with other things. I think it's time for me to sell and then just fully take on a new adventure. That's really the only reason.
Can you describe the amount and the type of work that you do on this business to maintain it?
So I don't do much work right now and for the past maybe 2 years to run the business and maintain it. Because I'm not running ads, I'm not managing any ad campaigns or any agency that runs ads, which is usually quite a lot of work. Basically, my typical day would be consisting of scrolling through my emails just to see if there's anything that I might want to be aware of. But my customer service team are in the inbox anyway, so they take care of all of the day-to-day emails. So there's usually nothing for me to do in terms of like emails or replies. What I'll do is I'll check to see how many sales came in over the night, and maybe once a week I'll update my P&L just to see where we're standing at that moment in the month. Like, for example, and near the end of August, and I know that I've done about 16,000 in profit, which is the best profit for this year so far. So that's good. And I like to keep track of that so I know how well we're doing. But I could do this like on the first day of the new month if I wasn't interested, if I wasn't curious. But I like to just keep an eye on revenue and profits maybe once a week. And there's not really a lot more work to be done. I do tend to track to see how much organic traffic I'm getting, because that's the main source of traffic is Google Organic. So I will check to see if the website is still ranking for the keywords that we're trying to rank for. And if I see a keyword that's ranking maybe on page 2 instead of page 1, I may go in and see if there's anything I can do to optimize that specific page. But that's usually something I would do maybe once or twice a month, just because, traffic can fluctuate. So there's no reason to be in there every day doing that. So my 3 VAs are in the Philippines, and they run all of the day to day. They have overlapping shifts. So they cover US hours. They're like office hours, and there's somebody working 7 days a week. So even at the weekends, so even when the suppliers I work for are not answering calls, we are. So my guys take care of all the day-to-day. They're answering phones, answering the live chat on the website, answering emails. They're processing orders with the supplier. They're updating the customers if there's any issues. And they're basically just doing all of the day-to-day stuff to keep the business running and growing. And then I will just be the kind of overarching guy who just monitors and tries to figure out ways to get more traffic to the website so I can get more people down that funnel and just get more sales each time. So there's not a lot of hours spent. I spend maybe 5 hours a week total, but there could be a case where I spend maybe 2 or 3 hours one day, and then maybe I don't work on the store for like maybe 2 days in a row. I just got back from a holiday where I was sailing on a boat for like 8 days and I had no signal, and nothing. I actually had a closing our best month, so I'm not required at this stage, which is good. So I try to send out regular email campaigns, but I'm not doing a very good job at that. I haven't sent out an email campaign for about a month, but ideally what I should be doing is sending out one email campaign to the list every week, but I just haven't been keeping up with that just because I used to have an agency that would do it and I decided to take it on myself, but I'm just not very good at following through. So ideally I should be sending out one email a week and then just monitoring to see if there's anything I can do to get more traffic organically. And that's pretty much the maintenance. So it's not very demanding. It's definitely not time consuming either.
Now, if you were to keep the business, what are some ways you would try to grow it?
If I were to keep this business, I already know what it would require to grow it because I already know what the roadmap is because I had it projected out over the next couple of years. I just haven't had the desire to actually execute. So, for example, some of the things I would do is I would turn ads on again because that is a very easy way to just immediately get traffic and sales because Google does all of the algorithm for you and they just do that. I have a kind of a love-hate relationship with Google and Facebook ads just because I was never really able to accurately assign attribution to either Facebook or Google Shopping or organic, and not having that clear idea, I didn't like not knowing where my sales were coming from. So I took the bold decision to just turn off ads altogether. But what I would do is I would turn ads back on, maybe at the beginning of the year. The niche is seasonal. So August and September are like the kind of the pinnacle of the season. And then October, November tends to slow down. December tends to slow down a little bit. Then January and February are very quiet. And then March, sales start to pick up again. And then that again climaxes around August and September. So at the beginning of the year, I would start running ads, Google Shopping ads, and Facebook retargeting, which I'm not doing either, which would be a very good way to get more traffic back from people that were already on the website. So that would increase conversion rates and overall traffic. I would explore other social channels. Like right now, one of my VAs that is in customer service, he's also in charge of posting a couple of times a day on Facebook and a couple of times a day on Pinterest, which is good. Like people click the link, they get some traffic, but it's not very warm lead traffic. It's just, they're trying to be active rather than inactive. It's not very targeted and very calculated. It's just, let's be active. So social media is active. But I would look at ways to maybe, there could be a Facebook group or Facebook community created where all the people that are already like the pages. Like, for example, agencies are telling me all the time that my target audience are on TikTok, but I've just dragged my heels with TikTok because I'm not on there. So apparently TikTok would be something to explore organically and potentially like paid ads. So that would be worth exploring. Whether it's something that's applied then full time, it would depend on the results of maybe a month's trial. Social media would be a good idea. And then there are other ways to explore. For example, I've built out these really helpful resources on the website, and those can be really good leads for B2B sales, which I've already built out the resources. All I have to do now is just start reaching out and doing like the cold outreach to all of those B2B opportunities, but I just haven't followed through. There are ways to offer more products to the same audience, which I've been reluctant to do, but that's just because I've been reluctant in general. But everybody keeps telling me that I should have already started selling other related products to the same audience, which just makes sense. It would increase AOV and it would be selling more to people that already trust the website. So that would be a good strategy. And then there are lots of accessories that sell really well that could easily be replicated in a factory in China and sold on the website as your own brand. So margins would be a lot higher. Instead of the dropshipping margins, which are pretty low, you could be selling an accessory in the few $100s range and making 50% profit. So that's one of my long-term implementations would be. So there are still lots of ways. There are also lots of more suppliers that sell in this industry. I probably got about maybe 5% of all suppliers just by choice, but there are lots more that can be added to the store and broadened out a lot more. So there's just lots of ways that you can go.
And what are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
It's a dropshipping business. So while there are no major risks, some of the execution is out of your hands. So for example, as a dropshipper, my suppliers are in charge of the quality and the actual fulfillment. So shipping it to my customers. If the supplier is notoriously bad at getting stuff out the door, that can raise, like customer anxiety and stuff. But the reason I only use like 12 or 13 suppliers is because I've pruned suppliers that don't do a good job. That falls back on me. So I've gotten rid of suppliers that don't do a good job and I don't live up to the standards I'm trying to offer. But obviously, if you take on more suppliers, some of them just won't be like A-level or A-class suppliers. The customer service we offer is excellent, although when it comes to perhaps replacing products or returning products, we need the supplier to also be on board with offering good customer service, because if the suppliers, we have no choice but to say no as well. So we're only as strong as our weakest supplier. So that's one risk, is that as a dropshipper, we're not in charge of every step of the funnel, especially after post-purchase phase anyway. But by choosing and partnering with good suppliers, that's just usually very much a minimum. Another risk with this specific business is that it's heavily reliant on organic traffic. Now, the reason why that is because in 2019, my ads accounts for both Google Shopping and Facebook were suspended for innocuous reasons. Sometimes it happens. And since I had that love-hate relationship with running ads, I decided to screw it and just learn SEO. I then became an SEO expert and now actually offer a course on e-commerce SEO. So the SEO that's on the store is very, very solid. And it's why I'm one of the only stores in a big niche that gets traffic organically, that isn't reliant on ads, but does also expose the store to Google algorithm updates, traffic variations, ranking variations. So like every time there's a big Google algorithm, there's usually a little bit of a shakeup. But since I don't practice any like gray hat or black hat SEO techniques, they're all solid backlinks. I don't use PBNs to get fake backlinks or anything. And the content is generally very good. I'm usually immune to those algorithm updates, but there's always a little bit of reshuffling in the organic rankings. So traffic can fluctuate depending on the Google's algorithm. So that's one risk that this business has. A way to hedge that risk would be to just start running ads. So you're not heavily reliant on just one traffic source, organic. So while organic traffic is its biggest asset, it's also its biggest risk if it's the only thing, because obviously you want to be able to diversify traffic in as many ways as possible. So if one stops performing well, the others are still bringing you traffic. So by turning ads on, you would basically be covering that risk, and then you would still be getting the organic traffic as long as nothing happens. So that's really the biggest risk. Suppliers are heavily reliant on sellers that know how to do marketing, like drop shippers. So suppliers rarely, there's probably less than 1% of all suppliers don't use drop shippers, and there are probably about 400, 500 suppliers in the US at this stage. So you will never run out of suppliers looking to team with a good, well-ranking organically website that has a good reputation. So there's no risk with like suppliers or supplier relationships falling down. It's mostly just the biggest risk in this case would be traffic source and keeping that traffic. And what I said already was that you can hedge that by just bringing in different traffic sources. So there are no massive like Titanic level icebergs out there to navigate. Just some common sense business strategies in general to diversify traffic, and everything will be fine.
And how much support are you willing to offer a buyer who acquires this business?
I'm not going anywhere. I'm still in the industry. I've got very good relationships with the suppliers. So it's not a case of I'm just going to cut and run and then I never want to be involved in a niche anymore. I'm happy to support the buyer. In my initial interview with Empire Flippers, I said 90 days, but 90 days just to say like I'm going to be around for months. That can be extended. It's not a problem. I think initially, maybe weekly Zoom calls on video would be better because we can get a lot more information sharing done in the beginning, maybe for the first month, and then, 3 months or so of just being available, whether it's by email or WhatsApp or phone. And then if meetings or like if a Zoom call is required to hash something out, then, I'm there too. And also I can do like also introductions to some of the better suppliers, some of the more important suppliers on the store. I'm happy to have like a 3-way call and just make introductions and explain how the business is working and how important certain suppliers are and all that stuff. And obviously if you require my guys to stay in place and continue running the business day to day, at least until you have your own team in place or you have your own operations that you prefer to do, that's fine too. It's not a case of you take over the store and then you have to find, new hires. The team, if you want them, can stay in place and continue doing what they're doing as if for them nothing changed. Okay. I'm going to be around. I'm going to be available. And the team is also in place. The way the team is structured is there are 3 VAs, all from the same city in the Philippines. And one of them is my customer service manager, and he manages shifts, time off. He always makes sure that there's always somebody working if other people are taking time off. So there's very little decision making or team management for you to do. The customer service manager is responsible for that, and he makes sure everything is working. He also has learned over the years of working with me how to add new products to the store, edit existing products, change the pricing, add promotional banners to the website when we're running a promotion or if a supplier is offering a deal. So he can actually do a lot of the day-to-day work that you might think you need to do, but he can do that as well. I think the team itself would also be a lot of support as well, either during the handover process or just afterwards, subsequently, because they're already in charge of lots of the day-to-day, because over time I've just removed myself from day-to-day and they've all got customer service roles plus 1 or 2 extra other skills that they apply. So everybody kind of knows what to do and they also have those extra skills. So it's not me doing it. So I'll be able to support and the team will be there as well to continue supporting.
And regarding the sale of this business, just confirming you commit to a non-compete?
I can commit and sign whatever is required to promise, and I will have a non-compete clause. That's absolutely fine for, I guess, as many years as necessary, because I'm tired of the niche itself and I just want to do something completely different. So I could promise I won't compete, but I'm happy to sign whatever kind of non-compete is required, because I have no intention of continuing in that niche.
And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
I'm not looking for any sort of payout where I have to continue working in business and then get paid from the profits. Basically, because that's what I'm doing now. I'm running the business and that's going into the business account. So I'm paying myself that way. So I have no intention of selling the business in any other way except for a cash payout, because Like I said earlier, what I plan on doing is putting money in the bank and being comfortable so I can start running a new business with the safety net of having funds aside. If I was to do some sort of an earnout payment structure or something similar, I wouldn't get the cash up front and I'd still be working in the existing business, which wouldn't allow me to go and do what I want to do. So I'm not interested in any other sale except for a cash sale.
Now, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
I might be selling this store, but it's not something that is declining in value, even though the last 12 months have been slow economic wise. This business long term, I'd say over the next 2 to 5 years, it's going to be a fantastic business to be in just because the niche is growing fast and the industry is adopting to the niche and it's a very fast growing business. Just over the last 9 to 12 months, it's been slower because, during COVID, it was an absolute rocket ship. And then in the last 12 months, there's been the talk of inflation and recession and these expensive products, like a lot of other niches in the same kind of category in that like outdoor, nice to have, but not must have products have taken a hit in sales just because people are not spending as quickly as they can. But how I see it, that the industry is growing fast and the market adoption in the US is growing fast. And I think in 5 years, it's going to be huge. And my store is already ranking organically at the top of page 1 for all of the main keywords. So as more interest comes and more traffic arrives, as long as the store stays there and is running ads to capture more traffic as well, I think it's only going to grow as of this year. It's just, I don't have the desire to sit on the store and just keep working on it for another couple of years just because I fell out of love with the store. But anybody that does take it and then continues to grow it organically and then adds a couple of other traffic channels, it will just grow and grow and grow in traffic and sales. The conversion rate has never decreased in the last 6 years, despite constantly just getting more and more traffic. So that means that the traffic that's coming in organically is good qualified traffic. So all the SEO work is really solid. Because if I was just getting more traffic, but from, like weird sources, the conversion rate would drop because the quality of the traffic would be diluted and the conversion rate would drop. But it's been consistently the same from the beginning, despite adding more traffic. So the more traffic you can throw on, continuing the way I've been doing it, will just bring in more sales and the conversion rate won't drop. And with more demand coming over the next couple of years, that just means more traffic. So that's more traffic, more sales, more revenue. So it's definitely going to be worth a lot more in about a year, a lot more in about 2 to 5 years, a lot more. So I just think it's a really good business for somebody that has the desire to just work on it regularly, maybe a couple of hours a day, send out regular email campaigns, turn on ads, and then just keep targeting organic keywords and trying to improve rankings over time. And it's going to be a smashing investment for somebody that really wants to.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing is still for sale, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for this business listing number, which is listed in the video thumbnail and the description. And if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So thanks for joining us, and until next time.